Welcome to episode 96 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Crimson Warlock.
What's up, everybody?
Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
Sharks.
Hello, everyone.
And Gray.
Welcome in the flesh.
We are going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, at G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much, Hollow River. Okay, excellent news for everyone listening out there. Planet Destiny has chosen to grace us with another raid, and this is really great. I really appreciated the last time they raided us, but I felt like we didn't. I didn't capture the moment like I could have. There was a lot more that I could have said, and there's a lot more than I could have did. And I've been thinking about this for a long time, and so I just want to kind of go around the room real quick and introduce ourselves again to the 408 people who are now in our chat room. My name is Remy, and I am the founder of Guardian 1. The main talker in this podcast. I really appreciate all the people that are on my panel right now because they put up with a lot from me. They put up with a lot of, I have speculation out the yin yang. I have just basically my life is my family and Destiny. Like that's all I do with my time. And I love both of those things so much. I can't even imagine doing anything else. I am a musician. And so I want to bring that into the world of Destiny. Like when I think about the things I want to do that aren't hanging out with my family or playing Destiny, it has to do with the lore of Destiny. It has to do with adding something to that whole. And it feels really good. I've got some secret projects in the works. Very exciting times for me. But I started this with a YouTube channel called Dear Bungie, and it was basically me being absolutely wrong about everything that Destiny was going to be, and more 100% right about how Bungie was going to be dealing with Destiny. I had these lavish daydreams, things about being able to fly your spaceship, and also like a forge mode, being able to edit your armor in certain ways, in ways that sound like they're showing up very small, very small here in the near future. But that's my story. I love Destiny. I've been a gamer for 33 years at this point. I love video games, but more than that, I love Destiny. I've never been part of such a great community. Bungie had a really great community with Halo, but it just doesn't. It's just not the same as the community that they have right now. So that is me. Right now, I would like to throw it to Crimson Warlock. Why don't you tell everybody out there a little bit about yourself, what you're doing here? Go.
All right, everybody. I'm Crimson Warlock, and Destiny is actually my first Bungie game. I never owned an Xbox gaming. Been a PlayStation fan, and so I'm obviously playing it on PlayStation 4. But definitely enjoy Destiny. Got up with Remy after his first couple of YouTube videos. I just messaged him, and we started talking, and it eventually formed into this podcast that you see. And yeah, our dreams for Destiny were very lofty, but they were great conversations. Very fun to have, and it is fun to see. It is fun to see Destiny grow into what some of our lavish dreams were. I love to craft. I'm a big crafter in MMOs and in RPGs, and so some of the things that were in Destiny, like reforging, were great. I loved those, but they're not in the game anymore. But as you can see with my name too, it's Crimson Warlock. I do play a Warlock quite heavily, and so if you need tips or help with playing a Warlock and you can't understand how Glide works, hit me up and I will show you how Glide works, because it's awesome. But yeah, that's about it.
I should send my dad your way because he has the hardest time with Glide. I tried to explain to him that it's on an arc, and wherever you press the button again is where you're going to be locked into that arc, and he doesn't seem to get it. Loves the Titan, loves the Hunter. I guess that's enough. 2/3 of the game is enough. Thank you very much, Crimson Warlock. Jez, why don't you give us a little bit about yourself, a little background, what you're doing here. Go.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not even part of your clan.
Diversity.
Jez, I am, I guess most people would only know me because I'm part of math class.
Well, which is a shame, really, because you were actually in Guardian 1 for like 2 weeks before you got scooped up by those guys. And it's a shame because you're a really funny guy. Actually, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, was because you were this very no-nonsense, detail-oriented bullshit finder. And I appreciate your finding my bullshit all the time, because I'm the dreamer, and I want more, and I need more, and you help me keep reality in check. So,
well, when my reality is different than everyone else's, it's hard to keep other people in check, apparently.
You know what it is? People just don't want to hear it. You have to want help in order to get it. All right, Agrios, thank you for being on the show. Why don't you give us a little bit of your background, what you're doing here, what your job is, maybe, what you do? I don't know. Go.
I like Destiny a lot, and I like to talk about Destiny a lot, and I like to find out new information about Destiny. And anything I'm really, really interested into, I get really, really into. And when, Destiny was still just whispers, on the lips of people, I was, heavily involved in that community, finding that information. And, along that ride, I took note of other individuals who had the same sort of passion along the way. And Remy was definitely one of those individuals that popped up on that radar. When it came time for me to find the clan that I wanted to join, I had a lot of options. I was one of the mods of the Destiny the Game subreddit at the time, right through launch and whatnot. And I had a lot of options available to me for clans to join. And I just really liked the whole Guardian 1 attitude. And I knew they were invested in the game, and they had been since, it was just the whispers on the lips of, people, like I said. And I knew I'd found a home. Awesome. I do the news here, sort of.
Thank you very much for being here, Agrios. You definitely were a key player in the very beginning. Like, I remember you being the person that I saw so much direct information from about Destiny. It was like you were you were at the end of the assembly line and you were just passing out information to everybody. It was really great. It's really great to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. Sharks, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself and what you're doing here, and something about the podcast, something about video games. I don't know. Go.
All right. Well, basically, I'm an avid gamer. I hurt my back, and at the time, Destiny was going to be coming out in not a very short period of time, and I've always really, really wanted to basically play Bungie games, but I was always a PS4 player, a PlayStation player, so I never got the chance, and I was like, I'm going to jump on the chance to play a Bungie game. So happy that they were actually going to come to a different platform. Got really big into finding out all the info I could on it. Ran into all your stuff that you were posting all over the internet, and a lot of other really famous people too. And it just amazed me how the community was, and I really wanted to delve into that and become one of those members, not just to hear the info, but maybe give the info to people too. So I started tweeting out stuff, and it's just gone from there. And then, of course, I got the opportunity being in Guardian 1. You said, come on the podcast one day, and I've never looked back because I just love blabbing about Destiny.
It's funny because at some point I just thought to myself, why don't I have Sharks on the show? Like, why don't I have him on the show all the time? Like, you play Destiny all the time. You think about Destiny all the time. Like, your opinion is that of somebody who has like twice or three times the amount of hours that I do in Destiny. And so your opinion on a number of things is going to be, you're just going to have so much more data available to you. And yeah, I remember having you on the show, and at first it was just going to be every other week because River was going to be every other week. And then it just made sense to have you on. There was no reason to not have you on because you have great input. And you play
not
Destiny
only that, but Sharks fills an important part in our show that we were maybe missing a little bit of. I mean, not all of our members are good at playing Destiny and whatnot, but we didn't really have someone who's exceptionally strong and consistently at PvP like Sharks is on our panel. And I think adding him helped fill that gap substantially.
I feel like Sharks is the player, like he's Neo before he was really kick-ass in the Matrix. Like when when he first started being able to punch super fast. Like, this is how I describe Sharks playing the game, because I feel him through the PlayStation bending Destiny to his will. Like, I feel him doing this, and it's just, this is that moment right before everything's zen, and he just goes, no. And then just everybody falls down in front of him. That's where I feel you are, Sharks. Like, you're just there. There still is a spoon, but there isn't a spoon.
Sharks bends bullets in Destiny.
Yeah, but his weakness is way too obvious. I mean, he gets all of his power from that beard. If that beard gets cut off, it's done.
That's what it is.
Right. You just need to watch out for Delilah, son. That's it. Excellent. Gray, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background in Destiny, this podcast, this clan, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Go.
I'm Gray Ghost. I'm relatively new to the mass multiplayer experience. Bungie is my first game that I played that's really a mass multiplayer online type game. And Guardian 1 is the first clan I've ever been a part of, and I couldn't have probably picked a better one to join just because of the great community that this clan represents, and that just extends beyond Guardian 1. I mean, Destiny, the community of Destiny is something that really surprised me. As a longtime gamer, I'd never experienced such positivity. I became part of Guardian 1 because helping other Guardians is a big part of what I want to do, both in this game and in the real world outside of the gaming world. I contacted Remy one day to say, hey, there's some things I can do that might help put some bells and whistles and take some stress off your back for the podcast. And I just kind of offered to really be a producer behind the scenes. And he wouldn't have that. Remy said I had to, if I was going to help out, I had to have a spot, have a box on the show. So some of the things that you guys are seeing now, the webcams, this is the start of the future of what we can do with this podcast. And, hopefully it'll be more interactive. It'll be more with the chat. As far as the things that I want to do, I stream a little bit on the side. I like doing trials on the weekends. Really excited for the new stuff to come out. But really anything that I put into this is really just to help anybody who is seeking that help. I work in healthcare outside of gaming, and a lot of my life just goes into helping people who are unfortunate to have health issues. And I realized really through interacting with members of the community that a lot of people gravitate towards Destiny because they're lonely, because they're having a hard time, because they don't have friends that they can contact that are close by. And so they get together and they meet up with people that are playing online, and they develop relationships and friendships. And sometimes those friendships get them through some really dark times in their lives. And I just thought, hey, if I can do that, if I can be part of that, that's something that I'd want to do. So it's something I do in my free time. I really enjoy it. I really like these guys that are part of the show, and hopefully we can continue to have a good time and educate and have fun with you.
Yeah, I really, I don't think I could agree with you more about how the community is, because there's just overall, Destiny is the most positive gaming community I've ever been in, and there's some toxic players in the community. But just overall, I feel like if you are the kind of person who sticks with Destiny, you're the kind of person who loves Destiny, like we love Destiny, then you understand that you can't have everything that you want. I mean, there's so much more that I wanted Destiny to be, that this game is practically unrecognizable compared to what I wanted, compared to what it could be. And there's decisions that Bungie has made that have made that something that, there's a lot I wanted to do before Destiny came out. Then it came out, and I realized that there was a lot I wasn't going to be able to do, like a tournament setup. Like, I've been working on an esports game since 2007, 2008, and it started in Halo 3. And if you are interested, it's at theudl.com, theudl.com. And I created this whole amazing, like, to me it is amazing concept of like a sports network, and with no custom games. It was just dead in the water. I mean, I did a lot of work with it in Halo 3. I did a lot of work with it in Halo Reach, and then Bungie was no longer in charge of the IP, and I just feel like the game it's just not worth it to me. I would rather take this concept into Destiny and just wait. Like when I think about what I want out of the game, I believe it's the same thing that Bungie wants out of the game. Every time I've talked to one of the employees and I ask them about something like Forge or custom games, they always point to me the fact that that Destiny is still a very young release. And if you look at the track record with Halo, there was no custom games in Halo 1, or at least not in the form that I'm talking about having in Destiny. So I don't know, but you're totally right. The community is really great overall, and I wanted to, this is actually the first thing I wanted to talk about leading into this. Guardian 1 is a group where it is expected that you will be asked to help somebody, because I myself am deathly afraid of asking anyone for help. It's just something it's just always been part of me. Like, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to ask people for help. And so the idea became that if I created a group that was dedicated to helping other people, those people wouldn't be put out when I asked for help, because I know I'm not put out when somebody asks me for help. I want to help. And it's just hard to put myself in that situation. And so I am like scared to death of using LFG. Like, I hate it. hate using LFG. I hate the trying to find somebody. Just real quick, Busy SGS in the chat wanted to know why I look like I was dancing, and I'm on one of these. It's like a ball chair that's supposed to help with your with the way you sit. And so every podcast I've been sitting in this thing, and the whole time I'm just bouncing back and forth like this, and it's ridiculous. And I saw myself doing it before the show, and I wish there was a way I could stop myself from doing it. But I hope I don't make you dizzy. Look at one of these other fine gentlemen. Look at Shark's beard. It's amazing. I've got like some kind of moss right here.
What if we all start bouncing and Gray just adjusts the video accordingly?
I like it. Get on that, Gray. So Guardian 1 is a group about Guardians helping Guardians, and really we haven't even started. We haven't even started pushing it. We have gathered up a lot of amazing people, like these people you see right here on this panel. A lot of people that want to help. There's a lot of room for help in this community. When you look at, for example, the PlayStation trophies, and you see that only 25% of everyone who's ever played has made it through like the second mission or whatever. It's clear that there's a lot of work that can be done. And so yeah, I just wanted to say that to everybody who was staying over from that raid. It's really great to have you here. And the last time we got raided, I felt like I should have introduced each of these fine gentlemen on the panel, and I feel like I should have given a little bit more context to what we're doing. The bottom line, really, though, is that we love playing Destiny. We love what it is. We love what it could be. Or in Jez's case, he just kind of puts up with it for the time being. But that's it. Like I love having Sharks on the show because he plays an amazing amount of Destiny. I love having Jez on the show because it's going to take something worthwhile for him to get into the game. But you have a really great thought process. It's great to have you here, Crimson Warlock. Everybody loves your examples. Like every time I ask you a question, you always bring really great information. Agrios, I'm really sad that you aren't able to use your video right now because I'm finding it really cool connecting with all of these guys by looking at their faces. This is totally new. This is our first episode where we've used video. Oh my god, it's so irritating watching me bounce. I'm so sorry, guys. Maybe we could get it a little bit closer up on my face, and then you wouldn't have to see that.
You need some sort of camera that will move with you, and then auto stabilize.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize to everyone. But Agrios, it's great to have you here. I had a really great idea for a job position that I think that you would be good at, that you would be great at, and that I think that would really help this podcast flow a lot better. And really, that's just me giving you more control over what happens. Like, I think that like a program director position would be really great, where you just say what we're going to talk about. I'm just going to talk about whatever the hell I want anyways. But with you having this structure available to you, instead of having to go back and forth with me, just tell me what's interesting. It's. I think that it's something that everyone could add to. But anyways. Let's get down to some Destiny. Oh yeah, so Maynard James, 1982. He has helped me finish all of my year 2 moment of triumphs, and he got me my flawless raider on the Xbox, and it's really like 20 minutes. It's really like 20 minutes worth of not dying on my end. And that was so much fun, and it was so nice. What was crazy is I did not get the achievement right away. His popped up, mine didn't pop up till the next day. So why don't we start with you, Crimson Warlock? Do you use LFG, or do you just not do certain content, just waiting for other people? Because I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death of LFG. I don't want to do it. I don't want to reach out to strange people. I've been in LFG groups, and there's always one real weird guy. Do you use LFG?
In the beginning, I did. I started to use it, and I did start to have very unenjoyable experiences with it. And then shout out to Night Celestial on Twitter, or Splash Bear if you know him. He invited me to a group, LDS Gamers. And so between Guardian 1 and LDS Gamers, I always have people to play with. It's a great group of people that I've got to know. And, I apologize to those people who are in Guardian 1 who aren't on my friends list. I've been really bad at that, and I've been trying to be better to add more people onto my friends list on PlayStation 4 so I can play with you guys. But yeah, between those two, I usually always have at least 2 more people to form a fire team to do something. Rating's a little bit harder, but when I want to, I can usually find a good group.
Well, that's good. That's good. Jez, do you use LFG, or do you just always have somebody on that's ready to run whatever?
Well, I tend to not run too much, but yeah, usually if I put it a call, there's enough people to do something. So I've never used LFG. I've used
Good.
LFG in other other games, but not this.
Good. Don't. People are weird. Actually, what's funny is I ran across a guy who was like how everybody has doppelgangers in the world. I found your doppelganger, Jez, like the way he spoke and the words he chose in his answers was way too calculated, and it was so you. It was funny to run with him. I added him to my friends list, and we run Vault of Glass in the middle of the night so I can get my Mythic Fast on the Xbox. All right, well, great. Let's see, Agrios, do you use LFG?
I have used LFG. I wouldn't say I use LFG. I would rather just get content done with my friends, or not at all to a degree. Now, if it's content that I need to get done because of the end goal more than actually, the desire to complete the content itself. Like if I just need to, get my raids or nightfalls done or whatever because I'm gearing up for some upcoming event or hard mode or something like that. If I need to get it done and I don't have the people that I can find in real life, either via social media or, because they're logged in, then I definitely use LFG. I've had definitely more good experiences from LFG than I have had bad. If someone refuses to communicate or communicates inappropriately, I simply boot them. I will never join an LFG group. I always start LFG groups and invite others to join me.
That's a good idea.
And I will never join another LFG group unless I get a really, really, really good vibe from their post and I join and the people seem cool, then I would consider joining it. But if there's anything beyond, if there's any question at all that these aren't the best character type people, I would never not be in charge of the group. And the instances that I've had to actually remove someone from one of my groups are very, 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 very low. And I do know that there is, I don't know how many, I'd be just pulling a number out of my ass, but there's a more than a few names on my friends list that came from LFGing them during the Crota era to get Crota done and whatnot.
Got it. Yeah, I remember that guy. That guy started talking crap to Strider, and I thought, man, these guys must know each other. And then it occurred to me that he was just being rude, and I thought, holy crap, you've been on my friends list for forever. I can't believe that I ran this with you. I can't believe that people are just that rude. I can't believe people say half the shit they do on the internet. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Get some help, is what I want to say to these people. And at the same time, I don't want to say anything to them because screw them. Because LFG is scary. Let's see. Sharks, do you use LFG?
I have. I've used it in the past. A lot of the times I would make Agrios do it because I didn't want to be bothered. We had friends. We just, pull them off our friends list or wait till tomorrow and do something. But, there were times that we wanted to get stuff done, and so he would do it, or he would say, I'm not going to do it. You have to do it if you want to do this. And so I ended up doing it. And I actually did it a few times when I was on by myself and I wanted to get something particular done. But I mean, in general, I don't really like using LFG because you do run into a lot of douchebags, and that sucks. But at the same time, I've met people that are pretty cool on LFG too. I have friends on my friends list that I've met through there. In fact, I was running COE with my wife the other day, and one of those people that I had met through LFG jumped in my game, and so we were doing that. So I mean, there are definitely people out there that are cool, but it just seems like there's so many people that aren't, and that really it puts a downer on it. Going and using it, and it's the same thing with the Bungie version of it. Bungie finally came together and decided to do their own LFG. And when it first came online, I decided just to check it out, see how it ran. We talk about all that stuff. And I was really, really disappointed because people were asses on there right away. It was just like, oh man, can you get any more trolls? And it doesn't just put me off. I'm sure it puts off other people too, but
I feel like the third-party LFG sites, you're a lot less likely to get the troll-type people because you have to be a little bit more involved in the community to even find the outside LFG sites. Whereas if it's something right on Bungie.net, which the game tells you to connect to, that's just troll bait, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see what you're saying, but trolls are trolls. It doesn't matter if they're the elite percent or if they're just Joe Blow kid that's just started playing. You get those kind of people, and I think the reason is a lot of the times that the good people, they're not going to most cases they're not going to be out there looking for groups. We've like us, we have a really good set of group. Really, we don't need to go on those LFG sites unless people aren't playing, and it's like that. I think most of the good people just aren't going there, and so you're left with the bottom of the barrel. But again, you're right. It varies. You can get
I don't know. I think if I were trying to get all three of my raids done, if I were trying to get all of my content done on all of my characters every week, I don't feel like I have enough friends currently on playing Destiny just to fill that out. I'm pretty sure I'd have to LFG that stuff. I mean, I feel like my friends list was more active in the Crota raid days, and even then we had to pull LFG people to fill out all our groups to get all of our stuff done on all of our characters. So I think it's more of me lacking doing things is the only reason I haven't had to use it so much.
Yeah, but do you find that because you've waited so long? I mean, we're at the end echelon of the April update, and obviously a lot of people don't play anymore. People that play are playing PvP or whatever else. But would you have said the same thing April, May?
Well, like a few weeks after April, I would say the first couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks right after the April update, then I would say there's probably a lot of people on at that point. But soon as that tapered off into what we have as normal right now, I would say I would definitely be hard pressed. And I would say I probably have a more extensive Destiny friends list than the average gamer just because of my involvement in the community in the past and whatnot.
You definitely
I just feel like the good people out there, if they really want to get all the content done, don't have a choice other than to use LFG is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but wait.
If they want to get all the content done, it's almost a necessity, it seems like to me.
But wouldn't the good people have already got it done?
No, I'm talking about stuff that rotates every week. Like every week you got to get it all done.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying if you're keeping up on completing all your content you can and getting all the rewards you can, I feel like it's almost a necessity of that player's life at this point.
That was for Jess. Sorry.
Did he fall out of his chair? He's taking a nap. He's turned into an owl. I think that's what that is.
So I had a couple comments on LFG. So I did a ton of LFG before I joined Guardian 1 because I didn't have a client to...
Wait. Gray, do you use LFG?
Yes, I do, and I did heavily actually before because I didn't have a group of people to play with. I did King's Fall normal and hard mode for the first time on LFG, and yeah, you don't always match with a great group, but if you have tough skin and you can get through it, or you end up just saying, guys, this isn't the kind of experience I want to have, and you just leave the fire team. Every once in a while, you end up matching with a really cool group of people, and sometimes the experience with the jerks out there, the trolls out there, people who just aren't being kind to one another, make that surprise feeling that you get when you match with a really cool group of people that much more valuable, that much more exciting. But I did my calcified fragments for the challenge modes were all on LFG. It kind of trained me in how I play, because you want to be more kind of on your game when you're playing with complete strangers,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I'm glad that
You know what?
What's that?
There's something else I want to add too. I think that if actually, go on. Let me recollect my thoughts on this and come back.
Well, I'm glad that you've had good. I'm glad that you've had good times. The whole reason I brought this up was that Maynard uses LFG, and he's got this magic touch. I don't know if it's just been that he's been really lucky the entire time that we've been playing, and so he's able to, just pull in the right people. But it's been a lot of fun, and it's very much in the same way that having somebody helping you out with some content. It's really crazy to just think, all of these people here were looking to do this at the same time, and now we've accomplished it. It's really awesome. Using LFG is really awesome, or at least it really can be. Unilala in the chat says, "No, LFG bad times for me," and I get it. I've seen it. I've seen the bad times. I've seen the bad people. And it's horrible. Megashaft says, yeah, on occasion, met some cool people that way that I still play with. That's awesome. This is, back in the Halo 2 days, Halo 3 days, the chat was just open. You would get dumped into a room with a bunch of people you're about to play Destiny with, and you could just hear everyone. It was like a chat room, and so you instantly knew who you were playing with, which ones were playing music really loud in the background, which ones were eating chips, and so this LFG gives you an opportunity to get matched up with people from all over, but meeting some people that you still play with, that's excellent. That is an excellent feeling. Going out and meeting somebody that's awesome. Jay Gibbs says, yes, my friends all quit playing before Taken King. So you're using some... How is that working out for you, Jay?
Okay, I think I can articulate what I was going to say before.
Do it.
I think if Bungie was going to create a game whose end game and harder content was based so importantly on having a group and you finding that group on your own, I think what they needed to do was build in more anti-troll sort of features, such as if you're going to be forming an LFG group, there would be a way to denote that this is an LFG group and not like a friends group. And there would be you would be able to give up the ability to kick players out if you so desired.
Yeah.
Because the ability to kick players out, is used by the trolls. So if you're not in a group that you own, if you're an LFG player going out and joining a group, and the first time this happens to anyone, especially if they're naive on the issue, it's devastating. I mean, you work your way through a raid or something the whole way up to the final boss, and just before the final blow gets landed, you get sent to orbit and don't get to collect anything that you could have got because you got trolled in that regard. I just feel like if Bungie was going to, build these features the way they did, they should have offered more ways to counter stuff like that.
I have a question. Okay, you've used a lot of LFG. How many times have you been kicked to orbit?
I've never been been put in that position because I'm not naive to that. So but if you go on the Reddit, there's just tons and tons of people report it happening to them. There's, in fact, groups who have gotten on Twitch, and their whole Twitch stream was about them trolling people, and they get thousands of viewers watching them just do this to people over and over and over again on their Twitch stream.
Yeah,
sucks.
I mean, but the thing is you have trolls, but you can have trolls both ways. I mean, maybe
You can't.
these people, maybe the people that are getting kicked, I'm saying, that are making these Reddit posts, maybe they're the trolls that you don't want in the.
I'm saying you
raid.
can watch people viciously take people who are grateful through content and boot them right before the boss and laugh at them for their viewers. They'll intentionally do this to people. Like, there are trolls out there who make a habit of just going out and doing this to people so that they can laugh at them because they are terrible human beings.
Yeah.
So what you want in a LFG is an option for a long-lasting relationship or a one-night stand?
That's a good idea, too.
So, one way that WoW gets around that, as soon as a boss fight starts, all those commands to vote to kick and stuff like that are disabled.
Oh, interesting.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Those kinds of options are what Bungie should have built in if they were going to force this sort of endgame matchmaking.
Well, and one of the other things a lot of MMOs have, or other games that focus around group content that Destiny doesn't, is kind of the vote to kick option. And I do feel like that is one thing that could be implemented for fire teams. Instead of just having sole power on the fire team leader, you should at least have a majority of votes to kick someone out of the group or not.
It usually ends up being the entire group is that guy's friends.
Yeah, exactly, because the fire team of 3, you have 2 people who are going out and doing this to one other person to be a dick. Typically.
It's funny. So one of my childhood friends, we reconnected when he was picking up the Destiny PS4. My sister sent me a picture of his Facebook message that says, "Oh, I came home to one of these, really nice present." And we were playing. We LFG'd some things, and we were in a group with a guy who was like, "Oh, hey, this guy says he has the checkpoint. We'll invite him in and get it, and then we'll kick him." And my friend's like, "No, man, that's messed up." And so the guy kicked us. What a jerk. Interesting
That's
comment.
exactly the kind of behavior I'm talking about that needs to be thought about in their, group features.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it, though. They did think about it. They didn't want people being match made or anything like that. They wanted you going in there and doing it with your friends.
This is true. The
friends are a luxury that not everybody has.
I kind of feel like all of us right now are in a place where we could be playing Destiny at the same time, but because you don't see them on in your friends list, it's you don't. There is no way to flag yourself like ready to play Destiny, but I'm just doing this thing over here right now. Like oftentimes I'll see you on Agrios and I'll think maybe I'll run some content with you.
Status. I try to tell you guys that. That's my permanent status. I try to tell you guys that all the time on Twitter. I just don't play Destiny alone. So I sign on in the beginning of the day. I go and look on. There's like 2 people on that I barely know. And then I go and play something else until someone invites me to come play something in Destiny. So.
All right. So let's wrap this up. Let's see. I did want to read another one of these comments. Okay. Voodoo 1026 says LFG unfortunately lately seems 50-50, and I will say that's probably a pretty good. I would accept that ratio as not being so horrible. Busy SGS says I haven't done PvE in 5 months, so no need for LFG, and I already have lots of people to play trials. That is awesome. That must be really great being part of a group like that. MJS617 says PvP oriented LFGs seem to be more volatile, and I would definitely go along with that. Playing multiplayer and hearing what people are saying, it's kind of like playing with like 18-year-old me. Like, what are you talking about, dude? And why are you talking about it?
I mean, it's even volatile even with people that you normally play with.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people have a very for not winning or losing mindset.
Yeah, All right.
Which technically is true, but yeah.
All right, it's time to move on. Spent enough jibber jabber talking. Again, thank you, Maynard. So let's go to some news. Agrios, what do you have for us in way of news? And does it include the mute button?
It includes the mute button that I'm punching with my screen harder and harder over and over again. That won't turn off. I don't know what it is with this new Skype update, but the same sort of thing happened to me in the beginning of the show when I tried to do my greeting. Last update moved all the buttons around, and they don't like to press.
That's funny.
All right, so in the news this week, we have GameInformer has dropped a couple new pieces of coverage. Last week, actually, just a couple hours before our show aired. It's a long podcast, too, so I did not have a chance to review it prior to our show last week. But the GameInformer had quite a few things to say about Destiny. Tyra, the new Cryptarch at Fellwinter's Peak, has weekly bounties to complete. Completing all of them in a given week grants you a token to spend on one of 3 new artifacts she has each week. The artifacts will rotate, and it's assumed that you can stack tokens to use on a different week. Total of 8 new artifacts she will sell. GameInformer described the bounties as not too grindy and shouldn't take long to complete each week. The farther that you travel into the Plaguelands, the more industrial and Siva infested it gets. There are chests scattered around the Plaguelands that are mimic chests. Opening one of these will not grant you the regular glimmer, materials, etc., but something bad will happen, whatever that means. We don't know if there's any way to distinguish between a normal chest and a fake chest in advance. New set of calcified fragments will be available to collect in the Plaguelands.
Check for breathing.
Are you being serious, or is that something that happens in other games?
That's a mimic thing. Check for breathing.
Interesting.
Yep. So there'll be a new set of calcified fragments to collect in the Plaguelands called Dormant Siva Clusters. Less than 50 to collect, but we don't know an exact number yet. There will be new dead ghosts to collect as well. To make up for the lack of Cade 6 humor dialogue, the ghost has been given more of a personality. There's also a lot of Lord Saladin dialogue. There will be 5 main story missions, but there are quests that stem out after you complete the campaign, similar to TTK, as there were only 8 main story missions in TTK. There's a nostalgic portion where you travel throughout the transformed locations in the Cosmodrome with your ghost. Also, not every location from the Cosmodrome has been reskinned and accessible during the new Plaguelands patrol. So far, we know we can access the Wall, the Divide, Rocket Yard, Refinery, the Blast, and the Devil's Lair. We don't know if you can travel or not to any of the other old locations. New raid, Wrath of the Machine, can be summed up as a collision of a raid. A collision of a raid. And they're not really sure what that means exactly. They're not exactly clear. They mention smashing shit in the other shit. Is how they describe it. So, in addition, a good portion of the raid takes place outdoors, and you can actually see raid locations during patrol and during missions.
Cool.
Video coming out soon, interviewing the raid team about their process designing this raid. There's no spoilers in this video, so don't watch it looking for information on the new raid. So it's good to know that there's no spoilers in it so that we can watch it in advance of the raid for those of us trying to stay in the dark about the experience for the most part.
Agrios, how did they describe it again? What was the words that they used?
Smashing shit into other shit.
But before that, the other statement. Collision?
It can be summed up as being a collision of a raid.
Collision of... I get this feeling that it's going to be like Indiana Jones, where you're kind of rushing through areas and the environment is collapsing on you at certain parts. That's just the feeling I get from it.
They described it previously as a steamroller threat.
There's a lot of talk. Obviously this is all just jibber jabber, really. But we have seen one of the bosses on the top of the wall and so it looks like it's moving. That would be collision. You don't want to get collided into. So, and they said that this raid is really heavily based on movement. So, that kind of makes sense. Collision is you're going to get collided into by that big, huge boss. You don't get your ass moving.
I like that a lot. It sounds like it's going to be useful to have that one artifact that allows you no cooldown on running. I really want there to be roles, specific roles in this raid that are like that. I think that would be really cool. I think that that's going to be something that we should look forward to. Like I think that Bungie has been training us like lab rats. Like, well, let's put this information out there in front of them, see what they do. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about going in blind. I did the majority of the King's Fall raid blind, but it was difficult because I didn't have anybody in the very beginning. There wasn't a time where I could just go in with other people. It was just really bad times. I'm really looking forward to getting in as soon as possible this time around. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Does anybody have anything they want to say about any of that before we move on? This mimic chest is crazy. Way crazy to me. I like the idea of weekly bounties coming from this Cryptarch. I really like the idea of weekly PvP bounties. Once I got the mountaintop, once I finished that and I started having access to Shax's weekly bounties, it is so much more fun to do PvP coming from somebody who traditionally doesn't play a ton of PvP. Like I enjoy being able to pause the game, and PvP doesn't allow that. I know that the Destiny is not a pausable game overall, but I mean, I could go and hide behind a rock that's out of, the enemy's search zone or whatever it is, and then I know I'm not going to die, and it just doesn't happen that way in PvP. And so I really started playing more PvP once those weekly bounties showed up, and this was something that I wanted. I mean, it's for one of those artifacts. And that's cool. I'm really excited about all of this. There's not anything here that I'm looking forward to. Those calcified, those SIVA bits, dormant SIVA bits. I don't know. Anything anybody here wants to talk about before we move on?
I have a question for Jez. Do you since you play a lot of RPG type games, are mimics typically organic? Creatures that attack, or are they traps as well?
Generally, they are creatures that can change into things, and they usually change into chests. Sometimes they change into keys. It's kind of like a creature that can change into something that its goal is to get something to pick it up or to touch it. So it's basically a trap that is a creature.
I think that's going to be an interesting... If Bungie is consistent with what mimics have been in other games, that's an interesting spin on what SIVA does. I think that they might just be having these as traps. Something comes out and just damages you a little bit, as opposed to it becoming an enemy that you have to shoot down or something.
I agree with you, Gray. I think that fits more into the story than there being some being that turns into a chest. Like I could.
Okay. I see it. I think it's both correct, actually. I think it's a mimic chest, as in it looks like a chest, but it's really something else. And I think what it really is something like a beacon that activates. And I think it's going to summon SIVA creatures into your location, which you're going to have to immediately battle. It's like an ambush.
Yeah.
I also see it being one of those kind of maybe a shielded enemy, kind of like our friend Randall the Vandal, that just comes out of the chest, or the chest disappears, and that's what it is.
I want to take this opportunity right now to point out to everyone who has video on this right now, Agrios has changed his avatar from that cool gray ghost or green ghost to this picture here. And I think that this might almost be better than just video, because he's like stroking his beard, like he's like doing like a wise man thing. And I don't think that he's going to be doing that the whole time. Like, I don't think that he's just going to talk through the show like this. And so...
Well, I thought that
Enjoy.
icon at least like fit in with the camera images better, so that's why I updated it.
Got it.
I don't. Did it update on the stream? I don't know. Oh yeah, it did update
Yeah, I
on the
see it on
stream.
the stream,
Well,
yeah.
it hadn't yet. Oh, but because it's a green background, my ghost is actually transparent in the stream, which is cool.
Oh, that's funny. That's what that is. Yeah.
So
all right.
one thing I wanted to talk about, these weekly bounties that we have to do to unlock the artifacts. Now, do you guys think it'll be kind of something similar to the House of Wolf bounties, or do you think it'll actually be a bounty that will take us, hopefully more than a couple of hours to do? Like, do you think it'd take several days to do, or just something, hey, go kill this target and come back to me, and that's kind of what the weekly bounty is?
Well, if you, I don't know if you had a chance to watch the video that GameInformer did, but they were talking about, or was it on their written one? I can't remember now. But this week they were talking about doing them, and one of the guys said to the other, "Oh, did you go and try to do those weekly bounties?" And the other guy said, "Oh, well, he had picked up the bounties, didn't go out there just to do them, but he finished them." So it sounds like it's a culmination of a whole bunch of different stuff in order to actually get those artifacts done. It's not just go and complete a mission like the House of Wolves one. It was go to point A, wait for them, kill them, then you get something. So it sounds like it's a lot more involved than that.
Was that a no, Agrios?
Oh, I didn't realize it was a question. I thought he was telling us about something the people had said. That all seems accurate. What was the question exactly?
I thought it was directed at you.
The bounties will be more involved, or somewhat similar to what we saw with House of Wolves, of kind of wait for a particular enemy to spawn in a public event and kill it and come back.
I read stuff along the lines of what Shark said, like along the lines of that things were like I didn't see anything mentioned about specific like assassination targets or anything like that in my read through. I'm not recalling anything like that. They described the bounties as not too grindy, so that makes me think they're definitely not assassination targets and fairly simple and straightforward to complete, as we've seen like some of the daily bounties in the past.
Excellent. Moving on.
So some of the new events that we're going to see, some details about new events that we're going to see coming with Rise of Iron. The Archon's Forge, it will be sort of like a horde mode where we'll fight enemies at first and then a boss at the end. The Archon's Forge is larger than the Court of Oryx, more like the size of a Prison of Elders arena. And there's less of a focus on mechanics like the COO bosses and more of a focus on killing a bunch of enemies. There are different tiers, just like with the Court of Oryx, and it is a public event. Other people can join. Some other information that we got on this, another point in one of the other GameInformer pieces, was that if you actually get killed and don't get revived in the Archon's Forge, you will be locked out until that specific event ends. So it sounds like once the event started, a door is locked, and I don't know if you can only enter it once, or if once it started and the people who are in there are just the ones who are in there, and if you're not in there, you're not part of it. That was a little bit unclear to me, but I do know if you die and aren't revived, you are locked out until after that specific event ends. They talk about the new strike that takes place in the Plaguelands and has different routes that open up, so that every time you go through it, you end up with different options. So the strike will play differently. This makes me wonder if maybe the different routes that you play also can affect which specific rewards you can get via that strike. the Fogoth and the Moon, Fogoth Strike on the Moon and the Sepix Prime Strike on Earth have both been revamped, as we know before. They mentioned that they've gotten complete graphical overhauls, audio overhauls with new, story going into them. The new Crucible mode, Supremacy, is exactly like Kill Confirmed from the Call of Duty series. Sharks actually pointed that out to us in a previous podcast. Kill a Guardian, you pick up his or her fallen engram to score a point. Now, they go on to tell us in one of the other Game Informer pieces that the crest will show up on radar and on the HUD. So this leads to charging skirmishes to snag them. Crests supposedly disappear after 60 seconds or so, but the Game Informer guys never actually saw that happen. One of the guys describes his experience and says, "I feel like I was able to weasel into a kill zone and pick up a few crests and then slide out of combat a few times, which really helped my team, even though my kill count wasn't very high." And he also says, "One time I watched an opponent nail two of my teammates, but I was able to snatch their crest and deny him the points before killing him and grabbing his crest then." So this obviously allows for like a lot of strategy and a little bit more depth in the gameplay than some of the other modes available in Destiny up to this point. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for the new PvP mode? Remy?
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be... I think it's going to be a lot of fun, especially now that you've kind of painted the picture of possibilities. Because when I first read about this, I thought, "Oh man, this is horrible." Because what's going to happen is that shotguns are just going to swing so far into use that it's going to be no fun at all. Because someone shoots you with a shotgun and you're just dead right there, and then there's your orb. Like this is a horrible time in my mind. But you're right. There's really an opportunity for there to be more than one outcome. There could be, like you were saying, somebody that doesn't have the greatest KD, but somebody who goes around and denies those people that point. Like this sounds like a lot of fun, and I still think that it's going to be overruled by shotguns, but I think that there's a lot more to it at this point. Gray, what do you think about it?
So I never played Kill Confirmed, so it's going to be a new experience. I think having new game modes are exciting. I've found that there's certain ones that I've just gotten a little stale that I just never go into anymore. I don't really play Rift very much. So it's going to be good to have some variety, something to try that's new, and maybe I'll really like it. It's just something I haven't done yet.
That makes sense. Jez, what do you think?
Kill Confirmed is a pretty decent mode because you can... it's basically incentivizing not turtling. At the same time, it's not putting an objective that people don't like to do. Like picking up a coin as you go past it. Well, that's easier than holding a zone. So yeah, people are going to like that better.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Sharks, what do you think about this?
I loved Kill Confirmed in Call of Duty. So I'm excited to see it because it's something new. But I have a feeling that we may get something else as well. And I don't know. I don't think, based off of stuff that they said in the past, before they told us it was Supremacy, it sounded like it was going to be something very different, very exhilarating, and I don't see Kill Confirmed as that kind of a game. So maybe we're going to have a different mode too. And we'll know next week because they're going to talk about it next week, whatever it is that they've been holding out on telling us. So maybe another game mode, but I look forward to playing Kill Confirmed or Supremacy for sure.
Excellent. You're interested in and previously having played it makes me a lot more excited about it. Jez, what do you think about this?
I think you've already asked me.
Excellent. I'm trying to get my camera to work again, but it's not wanting to work again, and that sucks. All right, who have I missed?
You haven't done Crimson yet.
Crimson Warlock. What do you think about this?
I'm super excited to see it and try something new. Like Grace said, I feel like for me Rift is real stale, and some of the other game modes have been. So it'll be fun to play. And since I haven't played first-person shooters, it'll be the first time I've played this game type. So I'm excited to see it. I'm hoping to maybe see a shift in how PvP is played because of this game mode as well. Hopefully you see different strategies and the way gunfights turn out as well. So it'll be fun to see just kind of the ripple effect Supremacy mode might have with PvP players.
I agree. All right, was that it? Did I ask everyone? Great, I already asked you.
Yep. Back
All
to
right.
news.
Agrios, what are your thoughts on this? And moving on.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the change. I mean, we haven't. I guess they added elimination along the way, but I guess we haven't got a 6v6 new mode. I mean, is this a 6v6 mode? This is a 6v6 mode, right? I can't remember actually reading it.
I don't think they said. I know it is versatile. Like, it could be either or.
Yeah, what
But-
Yeah, well, maybe they'll bring us both versions.
There were
It's-
three different modes.
It's
There were three
probably a
different modes.
6.
One of them was 6 for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I assumed. But then after I said it, I'm like, well, I don't want to say something that's not true because then I couldn't remember reading it anywhere. But yeah, I'd be looking forward to that. I mean, we haven't had new 6v6 mode for a while now. I mean, I guess you could count Mayhem, but I would just count that, that's just variations on other modes, Mayhem and Inferno. So I'm looking forward to another team mode. We haven't had one since Rift. And I'm a strategy player. I don't have as good a thumb skill as some other players, so I definitely, what kills I do get come from strategy. So I feel like hopefully this is going to be my type of game mode, and I'll do well at it. So I'm looking forward to it for that reason, if nothing else. The next GameInformer piece I have talked about, they took a tour of Fellwinter Peak in a video. No particularly new footage for the most part, but a couple of new pieces of information. As it was noted before, Lord Saladin will be in Fellwinter Peak, and they noted that the Iron Banner will be hosted there from now on. You can actually see the Plaguelands from there. The main hall is actually pictured on the original Iron Banner crest. The tree that's in the main hall surrounded by the Guardian Lords is what's pictured with wolf heads looking at it from either side on the original Iron Banner crest. There are also bells in Fellwinter's Peak that can be rang by the people there. They provide different tones, and they even hinted at the possibility of, unlocking secrets by playing certain things in right orders and whatnot. And it's hard to tell, how joking they were about that. They also showed the wolves around and noted that you aren't able to actually pet the wolves. They consulted wolf experts on, wolf behavior and whatnot when they placed the wolves there for accuracy. And I don't know. I feel like they've been kind of hyping the secrets of Fellwinter's Peak and of the Plaguelands, the hidden areas that are inaccessible normally, but you may be able to find ways into and such. And then now we have these bells, and maybe even the wolves could be involved with secrets. Do you think that? Do you think that we're going to be investigating and putting together things as a community and actually figuring out secrets based on these sorts of things, or you think this is a big red herring? Sharks?
Okay, I think it's BS.
I went to you because I could see a big grin on your face in the video. So normally I go to Remy, but I wanted to go to you because of the grin.
Yeah, no, it's BS. Like when Scott said that, you could see Chris Barrett was like, no, and then you could see in Scott's face, he's like, yeah, just play along. and it's the same. It's the same thing like they did in Vault Class. I mean, come on, how many thousands upon thousands of hours did people put into looking for another chest? You know, it's they wanna spin this stuff to get people playing. You know, the more stuff that we kind of hint, there might be something there. You know, people are going to spend hours and hours and hours searching for it. So no, I don't believe it. I mean, it'd be cool if it is, but right now, no, I'm not playing that game.
I like watching you talk, Sharks. You're a pretty animated guy. Gray, what do you think about this?
I was fixing boxes and I wasn't paying attention. So
no, I totally saw that. I totally saw it just happen right before my eyes. All right, Jez, give your answer.
I think they want to foster that, and maybe they actually did put something in because that's what we wanted from the start, and they keep trying to do something like it. Like there was an attempt with the sleeper simulant, but yeah,
I really enjoyed the sleeper simulant quest.
But it wasn't something that the community could figure out.
Didn't they though?
No, the only thing people figured out is, hey, if you go into this particular quest, or this particular mission, which some people were doing every day anyways, there's new ghosts, so pick them up.
No, I meant like the other parts of the quest, like the toggle, the 0 and 1 binary codes, and then you got to that one part where it was like, you know, something about going to Mars and waiting for the that one public event. Like I thought that all that was really cool. I really enjoyed that binary part of the thing, and I would really love to see it.
I wish that was presented in a different way. The way that they put it out, it's like, here comes two different color knights, and that was their binary. Like, what? Who talks like that? Who talks? I'm gonna summon these ones in this particular order. And the worst part is, once they summon it, they start moving all around. It's like, God damn it.
I'm actually talking about the part where you go into that item in your mission director, like where you go to that.
But the actual combination is on the mission before it.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
The knights that pop down, there's two different colors. There's the taken and there's the not taken. I think taken is 0, and it works out that way.
Yeah, that's how they figure out the code. Yeah, the mission right before it, they just summon wave after wave, and those are all the answers.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. I just guessed my way through those things. Like, I just kept trying combinations. It was a lot of fun. I didn't know that's how you did it.
I'm used to cracking things that are in binary that way. Just like 00000, 00001, 00010. Yeah. That was my day for the first couple, and then it started to get up to 9 and 10 bits. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
I see. You know what? I think maybe just try and add me again, Gray. So the option for video on off is grayed out. Like I can't select it. It just says turn off a video, and it's not giving me that. So yeah, just add me again real quick.
So should I just?
I was gonna say with this dead time, I would say that my bit with this music, there was, you know, jokingly or not, I thought maybe there's a particular tone of notes that all remind us of Destiny. So possibly people will figure out how to play that and get that working. But the other thing is. Darn it, Bungie, now that there's wolves, I want to see a wolf howling emo because I think that'd be awesome.
I like that a lot. That sounds really cool. What are we talking about?
We were just talking about whether there were going to be secrets like actually hidden that could be unlocked by the community by like ringing the bells in Fellwinter's Peak or with the wolves or whatnot. I just went over the tour of Fellwinter's Peak, and then we had our technical issues.
Yeah, well, that Scott said that if you ring it in a certain order, something special might happen, and then Barrett said no, there's not, and then Scott was like, "Isn't there?" or something like this. So, I think that there's going to be a lot more secrets. I think that they see that this is something the community wants, and I think that this is something that they want to do. Bungie's really always been really good about little hidden secrets. There was that one mission in Halo 3, I think it was, where you had to hop through the Halo rings in order to have something magical happen. I forgot what it was, and we talked about it on the show, but it turned out to be a real thing, and I could totally see them doing that.
So, just real quick, did any of you guys ever get that special emblem way back when Deej did the treasure hunt for the coins in the tower?
What are you talking about? I know about the coins in the tower, but what about an emblem?
There was a time that everyone started finding these coins. Like, I found a coin. It's like, I found a coin in a different place. And DJ's like, oh, maybe you should find them all. We'll have something for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that, if I remember right, that wasn't everybody was going to get it.
No,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
going to be the
whoever
first
found it.
person.
For a limited time. I don't remember. Did anyone from Math Class or Prime Guard back then get it, Jez?
No,
I think
no
it
one
was-
got the email.
I think it was just the first people that found it got like the movie of the week participation emblem. Like if you participate in one of the PvP streams or if the movie of the week, there's that special emblem they give out that like Sharks has. I think whoever did the coin find just got one of those emblems.
Okay.
It was literally just the first person to submit a picture of all of the coins in the tower, and they didn't even tell us how many they were, although everyone assumed 7, which was correct.
Awesome. Moving on.
Moving on. So the final Game Informer piece this week was 3 days with Destiny.
You almost said pizza.
And you
Pizza's
did
good.
say pizza.
And they basically interview each other about their time with the game. Over the course, they discuss a couple of details, about a couple of different aspects of the game. They note that Lord Saladin has new iron engrams for sale, which will reward you with some of the older Year 1 and Year 2 armor pieces for anybody trying to flesh out their collections. Now, I assume these are going to come out and be infusible, or I don't understand why they would add a literal extra vendor to sell literal Year 1 and Year 2 armor pieces. So I assume these are going to have the look of the Year 1 pieces, but have new types of rules on them. What do you guys think about that?
No,
Well,
they
they did-
they said that. They said it's basically so you can bring your Year 1 stuff forward.
Okay, well, I didn't see anywhere where they said specifically that things coming from these engrams brought them up, but
Yeah, I don't know if it was the original post or secondary one later, but they definitely said it. They talked about it.
okay. So they also mention that Shiro 4 has bounties to undertake, like using a battle axe to kill enemies in the Plague Lands or completing a captain encounter in the Archon's Forge. So that's what we can look forward to as far as Shiro 4's bounties go. He also has class items for sale, which go along with matching the Year 1 Iron Banner options. They mentioned that the Hunter Mantle of Perun, the Titan Yolder's Iron Sash, and Warlock Fellwinter's Iron Bond. They also mentioned Radiant Treasures, which seem to work something like Sterling Treasures. Bungie didn't detail for them how that you get them each week or how many you'd be able to get from in-game play, but they were able to acquire a few of them from the Eververse. They're not sure about everything you can get from the Radiant Treasures, but they know that they got visual customization options for their exotic weapons and other things similar to that. They mentioned that they actually saw customizations for the Zealous Supercell, Invective, Telesto, Mita Multi-Tool, and the new Cosmosoph. So I imagine they're probably going to make the full run of exotic weapons available, but that's my speculation. They also note new emotes were available through the Eververse, and as well as new artifacts. These ones were unique. The one that he notes there is the Golden Age lens. It lets you equip the artifact and change the camera filter for your in-game view, and it added a sepia tint. So this seems to be for those people out there that want to make custom videos for Destiny, and that's been something the community's definitely been asking for.
Is it really?
Hold on, let me take a selfie.
Is it really? I feel like there was a point in time, I think it was in Halo 3, where if you could be taking a picture, you could be taking a screenshot within Halo 3, within the theater mode, where it was a previously recorded game of some kind, and you could go third person completely, or you could follow around each individual person, and you could inch your camera into like an explosion and have it change the screen a certain way. Like you could have it go black and white, or you could have it go sepia tone, and at some point they added these orbs that you could put on the ground and it would change the whole level, everybody that came into it. And this seemed to me to be like the biggest waste of time there ever was. Is it cool? Certainly. But what is the use? Like Jez says, let me take a selfie. I just feel like it's such a wasted thing. Like I didn't ever want to play on a map that was only in sepia tone, or I didn't ever want to play on a map that was only in black and white. It just doesn't make sense, and I can't believe that they're putting their efforts into this venture. It just blows my mind.
How long did we stand in a hangar and dance for a video a week ago or whatever to make the video look cooler that we were sending?
Yeah, but as you'll notice, we didn't put it through sepia tone, and we didn't make it black and white. Like,
here's the one thing I want to put. Like, I get that people want to be artistic with stuff. Fine. Just because we don't like it doesn't mean that there aren't other people that don't. But here's the thing that kind of blows my mind is anybody that's out there, I shouldn't say anybody, most of the people that are out there that are doing videos like this already have the means to do that. They're not going to. They're not going to pay.
You'll have a lot more people that don't have those means being able to start doing it, though.
Right, and
who cares about those people?
Because those people are going to pay more money for your game.
Doesn't the PlayStation 4 have the capture gallery or the way that you can PlayStation 4 well? So it's kind of already there for PlayStation.
One thing you should probably notice with a lot of the games that came out this generation is a lot of them have a photo mode that lets you change all these things, let you remove characters from the picture, lets you move the camera around. It's popular for some reason. Some people like it. So, yeah, someone's going to use it. A lot of people's probably going to use it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he only mentions this one artifact that has a sepia filter. Well, what if you had something else that changed the angle of the camera? You looked at your character and stuff from a completely different angle for the, while the game's still like moving forward and playing and whatnot. Like things like this are things that you can't change outside the game. So, I mean, we don't know if they're going to go that far, but I see this as a viable way for them to make more money for the game through Eververse to, facilitate this sort of creativity.
Well, I'd like to say, though, is that if that's what they're going to do to sell stuff, I'm all for that. I'm more for that than, selling a gun or armor. I mean, they're already selling armor, so it's like
this seems less game breaking. So let them go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Bungie really does support the community creations, and this is another way that they can provide more tools. I bet that it was just, they were sitting around talking about what they could do to help support the creators out there, and granted, a lot of the really advanced creators already have these tools, but certainly there's going to be a large number of people who don't, that now might take that extra resource now available to them and make a video and submit it to Movie of the Week that they otherwise wouldn't. They can do something they couldn't do before. I think Bungie's always been really good about supporting the creativity in the community.
Hey, I agree with that, but this is really boring. What I want you guys to do is if you can see an example of this, like after these things drop, if you see a really good example, like these people couldn't have done this otherwise, let me know, because I would love to see it. Like I agree with Sharks. It's cool. I also agree with Sharks. I want Bungie to make money, and to those people who don't have access to making it black and white or whatever, I don't know. I just can't imagine what you are actually doing with it. But if you see a good example, like I would love to see a good example. I'd absolutely love to see a good example. And I don't want to say that they shouldn't do things that I'm not interested in. This just strikes me as so odd. You know what it probably is? It's probably something that's just been available. Like you can just add this to the game and it doesn't break anything because it's not interacting with anything else. I don't know. But
well,
I'm looking.
You got to figure for making like commercials and things like that. I mean, you got to figure like they already have to have some of these tools built into their game as far as like changing the camera perspective and things like that. So I feel like if they could just package that and stick it in Eververse and make some money off of it, as well as supplying the creativity of others, that can't really be a bad thing.
I agree. I just want to see a good example of it. Moving on.
All right, so they talk a bit about the new strike in this interview. It's called The Wretched Eye, and it's basically a journey through a series of old silos as you work your way to confront a group of SIVA-infected splicers. And we talked about the random paths that you can take there before, and they clarify a bit about the skeleton keys. Each time you complete a Nightfall or play a strike playlist, you have a chance to receive a skeleton key. They won't drop on the individually selected strikes. You can carry up to 5 of them, and you can use them to open a chest at the end of any strike horde chest. So a couple more clarification on the details of that there. And then there's also a final bit of a controversial statement in this interview here. I'm going to read it exactly as they have it written. I asked the development leads for Rise of Iron, and they didn't have any current plans to further expand vault space. That's not to say it could never happen, but they didn't tell us about any new initiatives there. I feel like this might be a very elaborate way of stating no comment, to be frank, from my side. I mean, it seems a little bit more negative and damning than that, but I feel like the devs are like, oh, we don't have any plans to talk about that right now. And this was how the author rephrased it out into making it a more interesting statement for the article. That's kind of the way I feel about it, based upon the conflicting with Deej saying before that, vault space issues will be a thing of the past. So I feel like this just might be poor communication, or they just, we're not saying anything about that now, or we don't have anything for you on that. And they're like, oh, they said they don't have anything. There's no plans for that right now. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, to me, that's the way I took this personally. I definitely think no vault space would be an issue in this. Remy, what do you feel?
I can't fucking believe this. I'm like through the roof, not understanding why they wouldn't give this to us. And on top of that, I wish I could sit down with Deej and just be like, so what was that? Was that like a slip of the tongue? Were they planning on adding more and they just haven't? Is this a misunderstanding? Like you were saying, Agrios, but I can't believe that they didn't say something that was more along the lines of, yes, there will be more vault space. I mean, in my mind, you know, we had talked about this previously. Are they just going to keep adding tabs? And they did. They just added another tab this last update. And so I can't believe that we're going to have what I consider a fairly substantial drop of information and gear. Like, there's going to be so much more gear. Why would they do that to us?
There's something else that I wanted to talk about, and I feel like I should share it here to give everybody else a chance to comment on it with their response on this too. Whenever we found out the Game Informer was getting this big scoop that they were going to be, delivering this information to us, a lot of people in the community voiced their concerns over, well, why is it coming through Game Informer? I like the Bungie reveals. I like my information to come from Bungie. Well, part of, I think there's pros and cons, this being one of the cons, as in this bit of information isn't coming through 100% clearly. But I think it's important to have somebody other than Bungie deliver the information to us, because they are looking at it from the perspective of players and maybe, asking the tough questions, so to speak, giving, real outside opinions. Of course, someone from Bungie is going to say their game's great. They're from Bungie. So I feel like it's good to have, something with a analytical mind looking at it from an outside source. But like something like this is where the downside of that sort of angle comes. And I feel like also if there were going to be more vault space, they might have told them like sort of a no comment type answer then, because that's a nugget that they're going to want to reserve for a Bungie stream, because it is something like that people are going to be looking forward to. And I think good or bad, if it's a really good answer, as in, well, every time you go past the edge of one of your pages, a new page will just open up, or really bad, as in there will be absolutely no more vault space ever in Destiny 1, I think that's a bit of information they're going to want to say for one of the last reveals before we go into Rise of Iron for hype or lack thereof reasons.
You know what? I agree with your assessment here, but the problem that I'm having is that, we need to know. I need to know. Should I be clearing out more space than I already am? Like, do I need to take a hatchet to everything that I already have? Like, this is...
You are right. That's the important question right there for us.
Right. Like, I just need to know. I just need to know what it is that I'm going to be expected to do. Like, I would be happy with just a page, to be honest. Like, I want there to be more. I want there to be a lot more. I want to just... Here's what I want to do. I want to take everything off of all of my characters, because, again, as with each release of Destiny, I fill up the vault space very quickly. I fill up each of my characters very quickly, to the point where I have to, at halfway through a raid, go back to the tower and clear out the postmaster, because I've still got some SRL stuff on like my Titan in the postmaster, just because everywhere else is so full. And so I need it. I need at least one page. But what I'd really like to do is just take everything off of each character that I'm not using, keep a helmet or two, a chest piece or two on each character. Like, I want to be able to sit in the Vanguard playlist for a while and just enjoy playing that content like that. But as it stands, I've got one or maybe two, if I'm really lucky, slots on each like weapon and gear slot, and it's just like playing like this is stressful. Like, honestly, I want to play Destiny. I'm done playing inventory manager. There's time for that. I'm just ready to play. Like, I just want to put everything that I like into my vault and just move on with my day and play some Destiny. And I would really like unlimited vault space. And at the same time, I understand that it's not a great idea, in that people like me will just keep it. Like, I'll just keep it. Like, if I had unlimited vault space, I'd have one of each of the blue sets that I've collected and then had to delete at some point. I'd have one of each of those blue sets. I'd still have like my first blue auto rifle. I'd still have my first green auto rifle, the Sahara SR3 with focus fire. Like, a bullet hose like that with focus fire turns into such a mean, strange weapon. And I had such a great time with it. And at some point, I just had to delete it. It just didn't have any vault space. So I need it. There needs to be more vault space. There's no way that there's not going to be vault space. Unless they're planning on selling it. Unless they're planning on selling vault space. And I don't know, I would buy it. Agrios, would you buy vault space?
It depends on the price.
Sharks, would you buy Vault Space?
I don't know. I mean, probably. But, well, you know what? That's not the question, though. Because you're buying it anyways. You're buying it one way or another. So, yeah, I'd buy Vault Space. But, yeah, I'll just answer that for now. And when you come back to me, then I'll go in my tirade.
Crimson Warlock, would you buy Vault Space?
Kind of what Shark said. It depends on how much they offer, but most likely not.
Jez, would you buy Vault Space?
No, I don't think I really even need it. I'm not running up on the limit anymore. The past couple increases were enough for me.
Man, it must be really nice. Those past couple increases were like, they held me over for all of about... they held me over until I got to my third character, and by the time I got to my third character, I had already filled up each of those new blades. What are you going to say, Agrias?
My issue with Destiny right now in purchasing new vault space is an issue of trust. Like, I don't trust them to not change the gear that I've spent time saving, and that I've invested and spent time saving that gear. I've spent effort saving that gear because I've deleted other things I couldn't save because I've saved that gear. And then if you turn around and change that thing I've saved, it's made all those costs in vain. So this would just be another cost, a real world money cost placed on saving something I like that might not be the way I like next time I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. All right, I want to hear Sharks go off. Sharks, you got the floor.
Okay, so we talked about this in the past, about Deej saying that we're going to get vault space. It's going to be a thing of the past. That was his quote, almost word for word. Now, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean that when Rise of Iron hits, that boom, it's the past. But that's what everybody is asking. You know, is it going to be a thing of the past when we get Rise of Iron? Then with GameInformer coming out here and saying, oh, well, you know, they've asked and they said no. I mean, that's basically what they did. That's BS. I mean, it's full stop BS. Now, Agrias is saying, oh, well, maybe it's because they want to hold it off and talk about it later. We're 5.5 weeks away from the drop of Rise of Iron. Next week, they're going to be at Gamescom. They're not going to talk about it there. So that's not a stream just on Vault Space. The guys at GameInformer, they are doing a big, huge article finding out all kinds of information. Why would you hide that one tiny bit of information? Nah, so they're probably not doing it. And
I have an answer for you, Shark.
Well, actually, I have a response to why they would hide that bit of information. I left that out. They're still working on Destiny. I mean, there's been articles even about, about day one patches lately, about how, games go gold to pass a playable state test that, Sony or Xbox has. But then the devs still have, 5 more weeks to work on it before day one patch, launches or whatever. So Vault Space, as mentioned in the past, has always been do we have enough leftover space after making this to give them more vault space? And, we've heard the story about how some developer found like a bonus 10 megs, and that's why we got the extra page of vault space or something like that. So I feel like, they use that as a leftover resource. Well, maybe they didn't want to commit to a number so early as the GameInformer interview was done, when they're like, well, when all is said and done, we might be able to give them this, or we might be able to give them this amount, and they just literally didn't have a number they could say yet. And that's why they said, oh, we don't plan on talking about that, or said something along those lines, we don't have any information about that for you. And that's how, GameInformer wrote it up.
Not doing it go ahead, Gray.
They said they don't have plans at this time.
I like that. Agrias,
I like this.
You have the practical answer. I have the spin foil answer. Jez can put on his Fallout mask if he wants to, because we're going to go super spin foil. Deej's words were picked carefully. He said vault space is going to be a thing of the past, right?
I think he said things like vault space will be a thing of the past.
Yeah. And then we got these images leaked to us, which shows the city being destroyed. No more vault. No more vault space. Nowhere to put your stuff. See,
thought you were
think Deej
going
let
in
it
a
slip,
normal
and I don't think he
spot.
meant to.
I thought you were going in the path that you probably should have mentioned. Maybe they are adding something like the kiosks for some other item that we normally keep on hand.
I agree with that too. Like class item kiosks and stuff like that should open up a lot of vault space for people. So if they added like a raid gear kiosk for all the raid gear that's set in stone and doesn't have a random roll, or even if it had a random roll, they can do like the exotic kiosk where they just have a roll picked for it. So they could easily do, a raid gear kiosk and a class item kiosk.
Well,
Yeah,
they
that
could also add kiosk to every vendor. They could put a kiosk next to every vendor for armor and for weapons. I mean, that could easily be something that we see. There's a Vanguard, there's a Dead Orbit, New Monarchy, etc. Just kiosks next to them.
Yeah, but they would have said that. They would have said that already. This is just a cop out. They're not doing it, and it's really, really frustrating to me because if you look. Another thing that kind of popped out at me during the big interview that you guys talked about, it was spending their 3 days at Bungie, is they said this isn't as big as the Taken King. The visuals are good, but they're not that awesome that that they've put all these resources into it, and now without vault space too, they dropped last gen. So they have no excuse not to add these things that everybody in the community has wanted for a very long time. So I just think it's BS.
Okay, so so what you are saying, I believe, Agrios, makes the most sense to me, and also it speaks to the place that makes me happy. Thinking about, okay, they're not planning on adding more vault space because you're not going to need as much vault space. You'll be able to archive certain things into these kiosks. That makes a lot of sense, and that would open up quite a bit of space. But
okay, I have a question for both of you. If that's the case, how would that work when you're going out and collecting specific roles on stuff, and there's a lot of different roles,
just like the exotic. They're just going to have a role pick that's going to be the kiosk role. If you want a different role, you're going to have to farm it in the wild, but if you're comfortable with deleting your item and picking back up whatever role happens to be in the kiosk of it, you're good to go. Just like the exotics.
The only
Could
other
also add a glass needle thing.
there's an open slot, and so you put your favorite item in that one open slot, and that's the one you can take out, like the exotic.
I mean, that's just vault space then. If it's remembering your exact item, you might as well just have vault space. It's using the same memory.
yeah, we did talk about that. I will say though, like why we were talking about why they don't just bury it. If I had been there and I was seriously trying to look at this person and say to them, there isn't going to be more vault space, I think I would have said, hey, low key, we can't talk about this because we're not adding any. Okay, well, please don't add this at all to your article because this is just going to cause us more hassle. If I say to you right now, well, we're not really looking into that, how about just don't add vault space at all in your article? I mean,
well, see, I feel like it could also just be a communication issue, and it was just mentioned offhand, and the two parties didn't elaborate on it because there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Maybe somewhere along the lines of let me finish the sentence that they quoted. They said we don't have plans on additional vault space right now. We're not working on that until 2 weeks till launch. If I add that sentence after their quote, then all of a sudden you look at it in a different light.
I guess it's bothering. It's bothering to me. I
agree. It's bothering to me too.
I feel like I've done a really good job. I've really cleaned out a lot, at least in terms of weapons. I've gone in and there's sometimes I would just save a roll that was kind of good and maybe had an interesting use, and I've just gone through and really hacked out a lot of the stuff. But I mean, it's there's never enough. It's crept back up already. and so I just don't. I'm not interested in this whole new world coming out and me having to delete a bunch of stuff. You know,
So,
I want to throw this out there to the collectors. I mean, this goes to anybody really, but okay. So I tweeted out that we were going to be able to buy old Iron Banner gear. Right? It was confirmed, as opposed to us just assuming this.
Right.
And I said, oh, delete it. You're going to be able to pick it up again. And a lot of people, they were like, no, the nostalgia part of it, they're going to keep it just because it's year one. But, we're talking about clearing out vault space for unneeded items that you can pick up later, really. And so I was going to delete mine. But then I had this thought in the back of my head, and it was like, well, what if they do the same thing with these Iron Banner class items like they did with the because I can't even say it right now, the new exotic
custom.
Yes. What if they do with that with like the people that kept their old gun? It's like, oh, well, you can use that instead of running around searching for stuff to trade in, basically, and start this stuff. And so, we're always sitting on the edge of our seat because we don't know where Bungie's going with stuff, and it's actually it's really frustrating because they're not going to tell us, and we just have to guess. Oh, do we keep it? Do we hold on to it, or get rid of it and assume that it's going to be one way or another? And not only is it frustrating, it's really stupid. I was talking to my wife because she plays Destiny, and I told her, oh, these people that kept that original gun, they're going to be able to use it to trade in. She goes, it doesn't make any sense because Bungie's always basically saying, get rid of your stuff. We're gonna do this update, and it's going to be useless anyway, so you might as well get rid of it. And then they go and reward these people that have hoarded that one particular item, and it makes me wonder, are they going to do it with other stuff and just not tell us?
It's an interesting thought.
Well, I mean, is the reward really a big thing instead of just like how it's described? It's just like those fusion rifles, and it's not like you have to go out to grind those like crazy. They just drop as you play. So, I mean, what does it do? Save you 5-10 minutes of a grind to get to the next step of the quest that much faster? And it's not really a big reward for saving something like that in my eyes.
So, okay, so Batuzai Z in the chat says, leave the past in the past where it belongs. And then they say, I have this mentality. If I don't use it, I erase it. And then they say, take a picture of the roll and leave it in the memories. And so when I am forced to delete something that I really love, I do take a picture of it. I take it one with the stats and one without the stats. And at some point, I will be going through the gigabytes and gigabytes of information that I have on this PlayStation 4. I think what I'm going to do is once year 2 ends, I'm just going to take all that info and drop it onto some Blu-ray discs. And then at some point in the years going forward, go through it and do something with it. But I feel like there's just so many guns, like just because I'm not using it right now doesn't mean I won't use it. And especially if it's a really great roll. If it's a really great roll and something I could use, then I really want to keep it. If it's something I could use, I really want to keep it. And there's many times where this has worked out well for me. Like, for instance, I really wanted to delete the icebreaker. The power on it was low, and taking down your light level by that much, I really feel the difference. But just running Crota recently, like it's been really nice to have that, even though I haven't used it in months. And I could just buy another one from the kiosk, having the one that I was using all through year 1. I just can't let the past be the past like that. I just can't delete it. I wish I could, because then I'd be where Jez is, where the increases that we've been shown would be enough. But I just can't do it. What were you going to say, Agrios?
No, never mind. It's a moot point. let's move on.
Moving on.
So the final bit from the Game Informer pieces, the two authors that wrote these articles seem to overwhelmingly, support Rise of Iron and Destiny. It was a good experience for them. But one of the closing comments by one of them said that Rise of Iron isn't entirely as meaty as Taken King. And I was curious how you guys felt about this, that if you thought that that was a mistake, being that this appears to be likely the last expansion for Destiny 1 to hold this off until Destiny 2. And I mean, we could see like an April update type update to this like halfway between now and then, but it seems they say everyone is heads down working on Destiny 2 at Bungie, that this is likely our last big content drop for Destiny 1.
I think that's a death sentence right there. Like if this is the last drop until for like a full year, like I don't think that that's what's going to happen at all, especially when we saw it was an interview that said, what was it? Pete Parsons said that they didn't realize that people were going to want to play as much Destiny as they do, and that having the mindset of, well, you've already put 800 hours into Destiny, isn't that a good enough value? Like, haven't we done enough? Is the wrong way to look at it. And so, at some point, there was something that said that they were going to try and keep up with user demand a lot better now. So I don't think that this is the last. I mean, it can't be the last update. It just can't. Like that's crazy talk. I mean,
they said it's not going to be. That was during E3, and they were interviewing, I believe it was Scott at the time. Don't quote me. Maybe it was. No, I'm pretty sure it was Scott, because Scott seemed to be a lot more giving on info. And they were talking about what's to come. And they said, oh, well, we're going to have events. They didn't say what events they were going to have. When we find out it's basically events that we've had in the past, but they also said, we are going to also have something along the lines of the April update. I mean, they basically said that. They didn't say, it's exactly like that. It's a DLC or you're going to pay for it, but they said that something else big like that coming.
But what I'm saying is we just got that with Taken King. We got Taken King and then an April update, okay, for the past year, basically. Or it's going to be a year at Rise of Iron. We will have gotten Taken King and the April update. This was described by these interviewers here as Rise of Iron isn't entirely as meaty as Taken King. So based upon that information and the size of Taken King plus the April update that we got with it, do you think that that's a mistake or too little content to ride us into Destiny 2 1 year after the Rise of Iron drops in September?
Yeah, but we don't know when Destiny 2 is going to release. We're assuming that it's going to be September next year. We don't know that.
Well, they say 2017, and yeah, I would say we're assuming to say September, but I think that's a fairly safe assumption.
Yeah, but the other thing is you have to think, if it's, this goes into the big thing is
if Destiny 2 was going to be released before A3 next year, I think we would have heard about it this year, is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe not though. But I mean, the thing that I'm saying is that we don't know if Destiny 1 is going to be combined with Destiny 2. We are assuming, but we assume a lot of stuff that doesn't come true. So let's just say it's another game. They're not going to care. Well, that's really harsh to say this, but they're not going to care the end cycle of Destiny 1 then. Well, you want people to go with a favorable opinion. You don't want to lose your player base altogether between the two games. I think even if they are unrelated, Destiny 2 is still the sequel to Destiny 1, and I feel like you're going to want your daily players to remain daily players until that happens. You don't get that when you play other games. You play other games, and then there's a big time gap. Like Destiny, but Destiny's different.
But
Destiny would be like Dark Souls if Dark Souls had daily activities in it to keep you going until the next Dark Souls came out, sort of type thing, I guess. Like, that's the way I see it. Game where you evolve.
No, it's like Fallout. Okay, so Fallout.
But Fallout isn't multiplayer online and repeatable with your friends on a daily basis like Destiny is. That's what I mean. It's a different animal to me.
All right, we got like 5 minutes left. Is there anything that we need to mention now, Agrios, before we end the show?
Oh, there is just tons of stuff. We had a false Destiny leak this week. An artist named Aziz Dosmentov had some pieces posted and featuring Guardian-looking people with a sword, a shield, and a spear, all flaming, and a big flaming tube. But apparently, this was rejected Destiny 2 concept art, as confirmed by Jason Schreier of Kotaku after talking with the artist. Definitely got everybody up into a spin about speculation on what's going to be coming up. Gamescom's coming this week. They'll be at the Sony booth there, and they don't say what we'll be able to play, but they'll promise you'll be able to get your hands on a controller there. Last time they say a distress call had summoned us to investigate Phobos. This time we'll ascend Fellwinter Peak, is the only real details they give. Present will be community leads Deej and Irk, designers Steve Cotton and Lars Bakken, artists Sheik Wang and Jesse Van Dyke, live team lead Jerry Hook, and producer Scott Taylor. The Gamescom live stream will be Tuesday, August 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. German time, hosted by Steve Cotton and Lars Bakken. And they're going to talk about new game modes, new maps, new features in the Crucible, and they'll lay down some additional context while two fire teams engage each other. Furthermore, they'll be screening a brand new Bungie Viadoc that will explore the entire Rise of Iron player experience. And it'll feature new glimpses of Fellwinter Peak and the Plaguelands with developer commentary about every aspect of the journey that'll begin on September 20th. Destiny Maintenance is going to take place Tuesday, August 16th as well at the exact same time, coincidentally, as the live stream, so you won't have anything better to do than watch the live stream.
Smart.
It's also going to cause the arrival of next week's Iron Banner to start 2 hours late. So it'll begin Tuesday, August 16th, noonish, and end Tuesday, August 23rd at 2 a.m. The game this week is Clash. The rewards will include helmets, chest pieces, shotguns, and hand cannons. And they say this is one of your last chances to gear up or level up what you've got before venturing into the Plaguelands. This will likely be their last time we get to see Iron Banner. Do you think?
Well, it says right in it, this is your last chance.
Well, it says this is the last Iron Banner. Did I overlook that?
Yeah, it's only 5.5 weeks away.
This is one of your last chances to gear up or level up what you've got to venture into the Plaguelands.
Well, it sounded like to me that they were going to make it so that this is the last Iron Banner. I mean, technically you have other chances because you can still run into the raids, but...
Well, I thought that they said that that Saladin was going to do the Iron Banner from Fellwinter's Peak now.
Yep.
Correct. That's where, after the Rise of Iron drops, that's where the Iron Banner will be hosted from.
So why are we talking about the end of the Iron Banner?
No, the end of Iron Banner, this expansion.
Will be the last Iron Banner until Rise of Iron.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, of course.
That's what I asked.
And it's also the last Iron Banner for last gen.
Correct.
No, it's not.
What?
No,
this Tuesday is when that cutoff is.
Oh, so they're done. It's already happened.
No, they said that. I think that they said that that there will still be trials and there will still be Iron Banner for last gen.
I recall them saying that too.
Yeah.
It's just going to be different than what we get now.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You were correct.
Yeah, they won't get the revamped modes that they're doing.
All right. Agrios, keep going.
Okay, so Challenge Vouchers this week. The champions, have continued their streak. 8 straight wins at the top. This week was brutal. With they had trickle and grenade bonus, which does not make the bonus easy, and they managed an incredible high score of 106,355. SD Battlefront Red Sox 007 and Blaze Boss 17. As a side note, with the solar burn damage and the combination with sleeper stimulant, you can kill the bosses in only a couple of shots. And with 2 friends, boom, farm exotics in only 5 minutes this week's Solar Burn Challenge of Elders. Also go on to check the movie of the week, Catch 'Em All, Destiny Go announcement trailer. I would play the shit out of this game. Somebody frickin' make it now, okay? Honorable mentions, big plays, 11 kills in 32 seconds, a 7th column, Voidwalker with a shotty is incredible. And the honorable mention also goes to Ambitious, a nicely edited PvP montage. Shout out to Community Focus to Destiny Reset Podcast. Congrats, guys.
Awesome.
Good work.
And that's it. You're the man, Agrios. I see you talking. I don't hear you, though.
That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Like that, we are out of time. So shout out starting with Gray.
So my shout out this week actually goes to each of you guys, Sharks, Jazz, Crimson, Rami, Agrios. We did a ton of work this week to get the podcast so we could have video, lots of stress testing for bandwidth reasons, and you guys really helped me out and put in the extra time to make this thing happen, and I think it went really well, so thank you guys for doing that.
Actually, on that note, if you have a thought or a comment about whether you liked the video or not, if you thought it was a cool addition, please let us know so that we know to put more resources into this. Sharks.
My shout out goes to Nerdy Girl. I didn't want to go digital. I didn't want to go digital on the Rise of Iron. But I went to GameStop and they didn't have any posters, so I was really bummed. So I ended up going digital and lost out on my poster, but she sent me one, so shout out to her.
That's awesome. How very nice. Did she have an extra one, or you just got hooked up?
Actually trying to get more, so yeah, we should talk to her if you want one.
Excellent. I've got 5. Thanks, though. Agrios.
I just want to shout out to Gray for doing lots of great work on the podcast. It looks great, getting all the video together and crunching through all the bugs. Good job. Looks great.
Jez.
Shout out to Holtzman for being a swell dude.
Yeah.
I agree. Crimson Warlock.
My shout out tonight goes to Nerdy Girl, Arclock, and CYM Paul 90. All these guys and gals have been helping me with my PvP moment of triumph. I've got 17 points left to climb the mountain and get my moments done. So thanks for all the PvP help, guys. It's been awesome, and just a little bit more, and then I'm there.
Awesome. Congratulations to you. My shout out this week goes to Maynard James again, because I'm done with my moment of triumphs, and I'm going to have all of my achievements for Destiny 1 done, and I definitely would not have been able to do it at this point without him. And he is like this. He's like this, what I want to prototype for Guardian 1 helpers. He's very patient, he's very knowledgeable, he's very friendly. And getting to the end game it's a lot of fun. And I'm so glad that I've had him to help me through all of these things, because it feels daunting. Like, I understand why some people don't finish a raid if they don't have somebody to help them, and if they don't have someone to support them. And there's some of these raids have huge learning curves. Some of them, there's a specific thing that you have to do or a specific thing you don't have to do. And so I can't thank him enough. Guardian 1 thanks Holtzman for yet another very cool Planet Destiny raid. I feel personally like I did a lot better job kind of explaining to the people that came in what we're all about. I was still long-winded about it. I still need to chisel down the how I do
elevator pitch.
Yeah, exactly, an elevator pitch. Damn it, Jez. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So from everyone at Guardian 1, thank you very much for that, Holtzman. And that wraps up episode 96. I would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions or suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.